Hey guys, it's your host of the Chomp Daily again. I hope you guys are doing well. I know I've been gone for some time, and I'm just going to make it quick, but just spending time with my brother, just because of how busy I am, just with college and obviously with work, I don't get to spend as much time as I'd like. So that's where I've been. I plan all this week to push out a bunch of videos just because it's just all involving Legends ZA, and today we're going to talk about 5 things that I personally believe we need to see in Legends ZA, which let me tell you, the video that I made about 5 things we don't want in Legends ZA, it did so much more than I thought it would. So I appreciate the feedback, and today I'm going to bring you guys something better. Just to hopefully, just bring our hopes up as we wait for this. But let me know down in the comments what you personally want when you think of Pokemon Legends ZA and what you want to go forward with when you play it. So let's get into this. So I'm going to start at number 5 and go all the way up to things that I believe we should need. And number 1 obviously being the best. So with that being said, number 5, that's really just going to be keeping the shiny hunting mechanics within just Pokemon Legends ZA that was that could build off of what Scarlet and Violet gave us. Like, we need to keep what we had from Scarlet and Violet and just transfer it over to Legends ZA. Like, we need to keep that same momentum, like that same ability just to find these shinies. And sure, you can make the argument that a lot of these shinies need to feel special. And even in Scarlet and Violet, with how more abundant they were, they still felt special. Because that same feeling of, wow, I'm finding so many, became, wow, I'm finding so many. Because it isn't necessarily that you're finding one multiple times, but you find multiple of the same Pokemon that's shiny multiple times. Like, if you do a shiny sandwich for Dragon, you can find multiple, Axews, or multiple, just other Pokemon in general. I mean, I know when we had the Dragonite, spawns, when like the whole max spawns came out where there was a whole bunch spawning at once, I ran a couple of dragon sandwiches and I got me 2 Dragonites from it. And that's huge because now you're getting fully evolved Pokemon that are shiny. And I will accept the argument that maybe it's too abundant, but at the same time, a lot of people enjoy having a lot of shinies on their team, or having a full shiny team like myself. And really, it helps with just the diversity, because people like to spend time and money on things that they really like, but sometimes it just gets so tedious. Like, with the streaming that I'm going to be doing here soon on Twitch, I'm going to be doing a lot of Dynamax hunting, and Dynamax hunting is really tedious because if you have the shiny charm, it's 1 in 100 within Dynamax adventures, and even though that's really good odds, it's very tedious. That could take you hours to find a shiny, and there's a good chance it's not even the shiny that you want. Within Scarlet and Violet, you controlled what shiny you wanted, and I like that. And there was still even a chance that maybe for some reason the shiny didn't spawn, or it just came out of view, or just something like that. So it's like you still have that intensity, and it's to the point to where, yes, it was really easy to get the shinies in Scarlet and Violet, but you had to do something to do it. Like, not often did you just go out into the wild and just found just a shiny sitting there. Now, for me, I found quite a few of those, but that's just luck. So I think it helps not distract from the fact that most of your Pokemon are going to be, the normal skinned Pokemon, and that the shiny Pokemon are still special. But I do like the idea of us as the fans, us as the player base, having the choice to control that, to be able to, catch as many as we like. I mean, I'm almost done with the shiny living decks in Scarlet and Violet. I mean, so I think we need to transfer that over to Legends ZA and include that shiny sound, which I heard's coming back. So, and from what I remember, Legends Arceus has a really good shiny hunting system, so it's still really good and better than what we had in just Sword and Shield and all the other games other than Scarlet and Violet, because that's the easiest one to obtain, just to obtain shinies. Sorry. Number 4, what I would like to see is some truly powerful, there's just some truly powerful rivals. Sorry. I was trying to think because I wanted to say villains and rivals, but at the same time, the rivals and villains kind of go hand in hand. That I've noticed with these recent Pokemon games, to where if the rival's a little bit mundane, so is the villain. But I guess you could add an asterisk to that and hopefully make the villain like really intense and actually quite scary to handle or just go up against. Kind of like what the old Team Rockets and just with the Aqua and Omega game, just with all of that intensity with those kind of old school just villains. I'd love to see that, but most importantly, your rival, because your rival really follows you around the game, and I'm tired of some of this more laid-back, childish stuff. Like, I want some, for example, like in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, your rival, he has history with Team Rocket, and he's a bad boy. He likes to steal Pokemon. He steals a Pokemon from Professor Elm's lab. I want more of that, not like what we get with Hop and such. So moving on to number 3, though, I would just like to see more new Pokemon, like more. I mean, sure, with Scarlet and Violet, we got quite a few new Pokemon, but not as much as we've seen in past generations. Like, I know that we're well over 1,000 Pokemon at this rate, but I want to see just more, just new, just new introductions into the series. I feel Scarlet and Violet had some nice inclusions, especially with the Paradox Pokemon, but I'm not talking about like Legends or like Paradox Pokemon, which are in like that weird category like Ultra Beasts. Like I want just like regular Pokemon that you just go out and catch, just new Pokemon. We've really not had an official like Bug and Dragon type yet, which is something that they could bring if they give us a Mega. Which is just a Mega Flygon, which would be huge to see. So I really want to see something more coming out of this Legends game. I understand that it's Kalos, but that doesn't mean that we can't find new Pokemon, or at least new forms. Like if we get like a whole bunch of new forms, or just new forms of Pokemon adapting to the more city life, that would be really cool. Especially if we go into the Catacombs, which I'm still hoping we get. That would be so cool to get like a Catacombs, and that's where you find most of your Dark and your ghost types, and maybe some rock and ground and steel, But that'd be cool. That would be a really good place to start. And obviously with Generation 10 eventually coming out, whenever that will be, we're definitely going to get some more Pokemon there, but we can still do it with Kalos, with Legends ZA, and I think we can do it quite well with just some more Megas and just different variations of Pokemon. Now over to number 2, I would like the game to just come out near perfect. In my last video I made just discussing what we don't want, I did say we didn't want a buggy mess, and I showed some visuals from the Scarlet and Violet, and I know that I praise Scarlet and Violet a lot, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't have been better. I mean, it definitely could. I mean, its release was shaky, if you can even say that at best. And sure, I'm not seeing half the glitches that these people have seen. Like, people are showing glitches that I've never seen. Like, I've never experienced them. I think the only glitch that I've ever seen was the riding glitch, to where your avatar just like kind of like just stays stiff, and like you just violently vibrate on the back of your mount. And like that was just weird, but that's the only thing that I've seen. I've never seen any of these stretchy contortions that people show me, but I guess I'm just lucky. But it's just really I emphasize on this because when you look at games like Tears of the Kingdom, like look at Tears of the Kingdom, this is an immaculate game. It's beautiful, it's well rendered, and on top of that, it's on the same console. I mean, you're going to tell me that Tears of the Kingdom is on the same console, but Scarlet and Violet did not have the capacity to do what they did with that? No, I don't believe that. Considering that there was way more assets and way more to Tears of the Kingdom than just Scarlet and Violet. So, I would really just like to see them incorporate that same kind of passion as they do into the Pokemon games, because they used to do that, like in like the old school Pokemon games, like your your Sapphire and Ruby and Emerald and Heart Gold, Soul Silver. All of the DS games had a lot of heart and a lot of work done into them, and I would just really like to see that again. Like I really do miss a lot of what Black and White offered. Black and White offered a lot, and obviously when it first released, it got some backlash for whatever reason. And that may be a video that I do in the future. It's just some weird double standard stuff that I do have an issue with when it just comes to our community, because I just find it funny that now we start to love and admire Black and White, but when we were first growing up the games, we wanted to just diss it just because other people were doing it. And I guess you could just make the excuse that we grew up. But there were other Pokemon fans that I even watched just for tips and stuff that were in their 20s, and they were bashing it. And it's like, just sometimes I just think there's just a double standard that we need to avoid. Because I'm not saying that all of the Pokemon games are perfect. Every single Pokemon game has its issues. But a lot of the DS games were near perfection. I mean, it was quite nice. So, I would just like to see the performance and just the visuals just be on point. I think they're going to do it just from what I've seen. It looks beautiful. They just need to focus on rendering and just making everything look on point. And I have a high hope for this just because of it being a city. They're going to be able to do a little bit more details. More places to act, just to go into and activate events and stuff like that. But that brings up to just number one, and number one, I didn't want to connect it with the performance and everything because it's more integral. With Legends Arceus, we have seen, the game was a great story. It was a great game to play. There was a lot more, heart put into it. But again, its story, even though I said it was great, its story is great once you finish it because you connect all of the pieces. And that's fine. And I still don't diss the story, but for a lot of people that just seems slow. And I'm not going to argue that. I mean, Legends Arceus did seem very slow. It felt slow. Just because you had to do so much, not only with the Pokédex, but just with the pacing of it all. And I do feel that we could improve on that, because Scarlet and Violet had a great story, but it had a lot of buggy stuff. It's like if you take the same passion that they made within the Scarlet and Violet story and even the DLC story, use that momentum, but give it the best visuals and additions, you would have a pretty good, if not damn near perfect, Pokemon game, in my opinion. So with that being said, yeah, there were parts of Legends Arceus that felt empty, and there were, but it was still visually pleasing. I like the almost sepia, old school visuals it gave, and this is obviously going to be a lot more modern. There's going to be a lot more pop. I mean, if you look at the new Pokemon designs, there's definitely a lot more pop in them, and that just leaves a lot of room for them to just give us a lot. And with the new battle mechanic, I think that's going to be huge. But that kind of plays into the visual and just how the game runs. So number one for me is definitely just the story, because you can't really have a game if you don't have a story you're following. At least not with Pokemon. You just can't not have a story to go with. And I want the story to be interesting. I want some dark elements like we had in Legends Arceus. In Legends Arceus, just the chief of the village just said, he just kicked you out into the wilderness, and just basically said, I'm going to leave you there to die. This is your fate. Deal with it, and that's when you meet just the ancestor of Cynthia. Someone that looks just suspiciously too much like Cynthia. I don't know. I'll not get into that because I have my theories about that, but that's just dark because he just kicked a kid out of a village and basically said, hey, you're going to fight on your own, and if you die, oh well, you most likely will die. And that's just awful. But I love that because that's kind of the darker tone that I like, because back in very hundreds of years ago when people were just all into witchcraft, and and if you were found guilty of witchcraft or just just being a traitor or something like that, you were basically either killed or you were just casted out into just in the wilderness to survive on your own, or just to die on your own. And I think that's kind of poetic because they captured that in Legends Arceus, and I think they can capture that here. Obviously, you're not going to be casted out of Kalos, but I think you can have some more evil writing into it, especially if, especially with the Quasartico or whatever you call them. You have a lot of potential there to have some really evil people behind it all. Like, you have a lot of potential, and you can even bring back some familiar faces that we thought were dead or were just lost to time because of the super weapon going off. So I'm just saying there's just a lot of potential that they have here, and I think Pokemon is going to do us justice. Like, I really do. But for me, story is like the number one, because as I said, even though Scarlet and Violet on a mechanical level was not perfect and still isn't perfect, it's just the story saved it. And I say this a lot because it did. And it just shows you how much a story can do, because if the story has you emotional and ingrained into it as you play, that means more than anything. But it kind of is just a distraction, though, at the same time. I want to be distracted while playing a game that functions correctly. And I think if they do that, with the functionality of the game being great, we may have one of the best games we've ever had. And honestly, there is a standard there for this Legends game. I mean, Legends Arceus did so well. People love Legends Arceus. But that means Legends ZA is going to have to meet that same expectation of just greatness. And I think they will, especially with how ambitious they said that this game is. So that's why I always say be optimistic and don't count this game out. Just don't use a trailer. Just because even then with the trailer, like, I think the trailer looks great. So I don't get some of the backlash it gets. Like, I just think people just like to complain sometimes. But, I'm not going to flash any waves. The point is that if they secure the story, we will be all set. But with that being said, that's really my top 5. I would like to know what you guys think down below. Do you believe certain mechanics should be number 1? Do you believe story is a little bit lower? Shinies? Just let me know down below, just because the amount of views I got on that video is just amazing to me. Like, it's over 2,000 views, and I know for some that's not crazy, but for me that is. Like, that's my highest viewed video, and I really do appreciate that, guys. So thank you again. And again, as always, don't forget to subscribe, because only like 2-3% of you are like subscribed that watch the videos, just so you can watch more videos like this. As I said, I am going to post a lot more. I just want to spend a week just focusing just on classes and my brother. If it wasn't for that, I would be fine. So I am going to be fine now, just because I have a lot more balance now. But as always, remember, be a chomp above the rest. And I really do look forward to hearing back from you. And just stay tuned for another video. Thank you.